Next on America's Day at the Races, it's opening day at Belmont Park, where Pat on the back looks to build off his 5-year-old campaign on the right track. He'll have to try and run down the speedy I Love Lulu. The 8-year-old is still going strong, as he proved in a recent win at Aqueduct in January. And we're just 8 days out from the first Saturday in May. We'll look at the New York contingent of Derby contenders can tax, collect on Derby Day. All that and much more coming up on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by America's Best Racing. For the love of the race, visit americasbestracing.net today. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus for the opening day of the spring meet here at Belmont Park. We had a little bit of rain earlier. It has subsided for now, and we have a good card to get in coming up, including the Affirmed Success Hour feature race. Greg Wolf alongside Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens. There's a Hall of Fame for handicapping. Andy Serling would probably be nominated for that. Good to have you guys with us. We're excited about our first show of the season here, and short and sweet Belmont meet here. Just 48-day meet, shortened a little bit because of an early start to Saratoga, and of course the unknown construction in the parking lot for the Islanders as well. But packing a lot in 59 stakes and over $18 million on the line.
I'm excited to be here. We're going to, of course, have the Belmont Stakes coming up here in about 5 weeks, but also we've got all the horses and trainers and jockeys that spent the winter in South Florida back in town now, and looking forward to also the Stars and Stripes Festival coming up later in the meet.
No, it's such a great time of the year, right? With the Derby coming up and Belmont Stakes, as you say, all the trainers and riders that we haven't seen for a while are back. There's so much to look forward to in Belmont Park.
We had a Triple Crown on the line last year when we got to the Belmont, June 8th. It happens this year. We're going to see what happens in just 8 days from now in that first leg of the Triple Crown. Get signed up, started, play along, bet all the races that we're showing you each and every day with Naira Bets. New members get a $200 sign-up bonus. Use the promo code LIVE when you get signed up and started. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to the Naira Bets app or go to nairabets.com. Weather and track conditions are presented by Piranha Fly Spray, the preferred fly spray of Belmont Park. Piranha on, pests gone. Little bonus coverage because we had a little bit of a delay earlier on, so we're going to bring you the 5th as well. We're 2 minutes to post. Sloppy and sealed racetrack. We're off the turf today at Aqueduct. Races 5 through 8 coming up. The 8th, our feature, that's the Affirmed Success. We'll have the 5th through the 8th at Oaklawn in Hot Springs, Arkansas for you as well. Their track condition listed as fast. So this will kick it off for us here. Our first race of America's Day at the Races. 7 furlongs. In this 5th here from Belmont Park, half of the entry is out. Jazzy J remains in, but Avelina even money right now.
She's the deserving favorite in this race. She's run well in both first starts. She held a sloppy sealed track in her debut with Aplomb. She's just the worst to beat, drawn well on the outside for Danny Gargan.
Yeah, and that's exactly what we've got, is a sloppy sealed track today. I never saw a deluge like we had earlier today with the lightning and the rain pounding down. The track guys did a great job getting this racetrack back in order.
Getting set to load, as you can see. Let's check in now with Maggie Wolfendale for more.
And Gary, I can echo the same sentiment, as they have done a great job in sealing this track. A lot of that standing water is virtually off of it, so we still have cloudy skies, but I want to check in with the gray filly in here. That is number 6, Excess Capacity. When this horse was privately purchased last time, they kind of threw her to the wolves and entering her in the busher, and she was really wound up in the paddock that day, and as you see, she contested that early pace and then kind of faltered. I think she expended way too much energy pre-race, and today she's a lot more calm. What I also liked here, guys, is how she warmed up over this racetrack. So the first time she's going to be on a sloppy sealed track, and she just bounced over it. She has pedigree to handle it, and I like the way she's heading into this race a lot more than what she showed last time here for Steve Asmussen and Toby Sheets. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. Powerful connections there. Steve Asmussen, the trainer, and of course Manny Franco having a fantastic meet, will be in the irons, or had a fantastic meet at Aqueduct as we kick off the Belmont spring meet here as they continue to load in. Final selections, Gary, who are you going to go with here?
Avelina. I like Avelina down on the bottom, 1 on the sloppy racetrack, and that would be my pick.
And Andy is going to go with Excess Capacity, who Maggie liked as well. We are set to roll. Larry Colmus, the voice of horse racing's Triple Crown, with the call. Here's race 5 to kick off the Naira Bets late pick 5. Here's the first leg the 5th from Belmont.
Molina walks up to the starting gate here as the favorite at odds of 4 to 5. They're all in line. They're off. And it's Brass Ring bounding out of the gate, opening up a length and a half on She's Primo, who came out running in second. Avelina's out third, Excess Capacity fourth. Big Benny's Tribute is fifth on the outside by 4.5 lengths. Then Don't Rush, Floss Dancer, and Jazzy J is at the back of the pack as they head up the backstretch. Brass Ring out there on a 3.5 length lead over She's Primo. 22.33 was that opening quarter mile. Avelina's third, racing 4.5 from the front as they race for the far turn. Then it's Excess Capacity, followed by Big Benny's Tribute, who's coming under a bit of pressure here with 6.5 lengths to make up, and it's just going along evenly while being asked to run. It's 2.5 back to Floss Dancer, who's outside of Don't Rush, and Jazzy J at the back of the pack. Brass Ring still on top through a 45.76 half mile. Coming to the top of the stretch with Avelina turning up the heat on the outside. These two kick away from She's Primo, and they're into the stretch, and Avelina has made a move for the lead and has opened up here. Avelina by 2.5 coming to the 8th pole. And then it's Brass Ring on the inside, followed by Excess Capacity, She's Primo, and Floss Dancer on the outside. Avelina shaken up by Kendra Carmouche for another 16th, and she's got it. Avelina running away, and from way back here comes Jazzy J up for second, outside of Excess Capacity, and then it was Floss Dancer and Brass Ring.
No doubt about it, win for Avelina. Danny Gargan, the trainer, we're going to talk more about him. He'll have Tax in the Derby, and second today for Kendra Carmouche.
Yeah, and Avelina is much the best there. Really loves this kind of surface. I'm going to note that this is 2 races in a row that I've seen the horses on the lead back up and come from behind us, come running. And the race before we came on air, the rail was very fast too. Horse got up the fence and went on and won. So if you're watching at home and betting on these races, take note of it.
Well, I think it's interesting. A lot of people just sort of assume that wet tracks are speed tracks.
Right.
But I think, and you can talk on this, when we didn't seal racetracks, they were frequently speed tracks. But I think since we started sealing racetracks, the tracks are very fair when it rains, quite often.
I think they are fair, but also this track here at Belmont, when it says sealed, it's not as hard and fast as tracks in other parts of the country with a different kind of material on them. I noticed after we had that heavy rainstorm, they just had the floats out there floating over the top of the seal, and basically what that means is they're just covering up the tire tracks. They're not really packing it down anymore. This track loves the water.
When you rode, did you look to ride in tire tracks?
Absolutely. Here at Belmont Park, you either wanted to be in the 4 path or the 8 path where the tire marks were, or right on top of the rail.
Kendrick Carmouche collects his second of the afternoon, and even though this was a 3 to 5 favorite, how about a little creating value underneath with a 33 to 1 shot is the remaining half of the entry for the exacta.
Horse came from the clouds to get second there, absolutely.
81865. We'll have these prices when we come back. Quick break, and we'll return. We told you we'd talk more about Danny Gargan, the Wood Memorial runner-up. Tax, his trainee. Next up, indeed, is Louisville. Worked earlier this morning. We'll take a look at his Derby preparations and his chances for the Derby when we come back.
Unhappy out of Addison Run. We bred here at Montfort Hall. Well, he's a big, strong, good bone, big old hip on him. Moves really well, has that kind of big cat-like walk when he just relaxes and gets rolling up and down the lane.
Run happy, standing at Claiborne Farms.
Eclipse champion Blame was considered by many as the breakout stallion of 2018. His top runners included Grade 1 winner and Eclipse Award finalist Marley's Freedom, plus Grade 1 winner Fault and graded stakes winners Moreau, Beyond Blame, Miss Kentucky, and Blamed. His yearling sold up to $500,000, and his sensational daughter Fault brought $1.2 million at the November sale. Outstanding results, outstanding value. Blame, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races. It's brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Good to have you with us for this opening day of the Belmont Spring Meet, and that is 2 today for Kendrick Carmouche, who's back in the winner's circle on the heavy favorite Avelina.
I tell you, it's amazing. Kendrick was out for almost exactly 6 months. He got injured right after Saratoga. He came back the end of February. Gary, you'd have thought the guy wasn't out a day.
He worked hard to come back, and he's a natural athlete and looks great on a horse. You're right. He was gone for 6 months, came back. I think you see that with a lot of top riders, and Kendrick for sure is a top rider.
Yeah.
So Avelina with a win, that exacta with that 33-to-1 shot underneath. Get you a nice little return, and we are underway in the Naira Bets late pick 5. I think we could beat that early pick 5.
I'm alive. I only had to go too deep to get to the 3-to-5 shot.
I like to hear that. Race 6. Off the turf. It was originally scheduled for the grass. Main track now, mile and an eighth. Maiden special weight. And Safta was a main track only entrant, is the 4-to-5 favorite for Dermot Magner.
Well, this is a horse that, after running third in a maiden sprinting, stretched out to a grade 2 at Gulfstream and finished 5th, beaten 4.5 lengths to a horse who may be the second choice in the Kentucky Oaks, Ian Wilkes' horse, Champagne Anyone.
Yeah, I love this filly in this spot today. She was a main track only entrant, and it's showing on the torque boat right now at 1-2.
All right, we'll talk about more of this race coming up. It does kick off the late pick 4. Paul LaDuca roaming the grounds here at vast Belmont Park, and he's put together a ticket for us. Paul.
Yeah, guys, definitely a muddy racetrack or a sloppy racetrack here in Elmont, New York. But I think you can get a little value. I get it. The 9 and the 10 are the 2 horses in here. I think the 9 does have a shot here for Chad Brown. He's just so dangerous. And the race that the horse did run on the main track was not that bad. I understand she's got to beat the outside filly. I'm going to single the 4 in the next leg. I think that he's going to be very, very tough. And then in the Bavaro race, guys, I thought it's where you can get your price, so I'm going to all there, go 5 deep in the last race. I don't think it's only the main track only is in race number 9. So I know it might be chalky in races 6 and 7, but you got to get your prices in 8 and 9, guys.
So there's Paul's late pick 4. He's going to single in race 7 with the 4 horse, get some coverage in those last couple of races. Meanwhile, we're 8 days away from the first Saturday in May, Kentucky Derby. No true standout this year. Wide open race, of course. Bob Baffert loaded with a few very strong contenders as well. While as we take a look at the Kentucky Derby points leaderboard, and Belmont's Tacitus topping that list in Omaha Beach for Richard Mandela in there at number 2, and that's who Mike Smith chose to ride.
Yeah, and a lot of these horses in their final workouts are firing bullets out there, meaning they're working unbelievable. We'll see a couple of them later on in the show today, but all systems, it looks like, are go right now for all 20 horses in that top 20 list.
I feel like it's one of the most open Kentucky Derbies we've had in a long time.
Well, Tax, and I mistakenly said work today. This work was actually from yesterday. Worked for Danny Gargan. It's going to be his first Kentucky Derby starter, and he loved what he saw in this work. 48-4, 4 furlongs.
You've got to. This was, when I say fire bullets, this is the fastest work of the morning here at Belmont Park, and that's on the training track. It's a little deeper usually than what the main track is here, and this horse is full of himself, finishing very strong under the wire in hand.
And this is a horse that Danny claimed for, I think, 30,000, 50 at most, but I think 30,000, 50, and just already a sensational claim, regardless of what he does in the Derby.
Well, Danny Gargan, as mentioned, it'll be his first Kentucky Derby starter, but he has plenty of Derby experience.
Well, you know, I worked for Nick Zito, so I've been around Derby runners before, so you just got to roll with the punches. You know, there's going to be a lot of interviews, a lot of people around, but it's kind of fun, it's exciting, so I'm not too worried about me. But the horse, I think he's laid back, so I'm not too worried about him. It's just another race. I mean, there's nothing we could do. You know, obviously when you walk out to the track that, walk over, it's going to be pretty exciting because the walkover is a big thing. You know, this is the first time I'm going to do the walkover where it's in my name as a trainer. So that's going to be pretty exciting.
Well, it has to be an incredible feeling getting that first Kentucky Derby starter. They put a horse in front of him as a target. Tax likes to have a horse to run at. What do you make of his chances in the Derby?
I loved his workout that I saw there yesterday, and I loved his race in the wood. He got bounced around quite a bit going into the first turn and showed the resiliency to be around at the finish of the race, and he does like a horse in front of him, but part I liked about that workout is when he passed the other horse, you want to keep an eye on that gallop out and how strong they are in the gallop out. Once he got in front, he didn't wait for that company to keep up with him. The gallop out was strong.
Yeah, I mean, he's a player. There are obviously horses that are more likely to win than him, but he's by no means a 30, 40 to 1 shot in this race. He absolutely has a chance to at least get a piece.
He was runner-up in the wood. There's Tacitus, High Call as well. What do you make about the wood horses going into the Kentucky Derby? Can a New York-based horse win?
Why not? I mean, we've seen horses do well. There's a lot of randomness to it, and obviously Bob Baffert's strong hand is what's worked so well for California. But I mean, Tacitus of them is obviously, I think, the one to beat. He took a lot of. You say that the Tax got bounced around. Tacitus took the worst of it. And I think you have to be impressed with how professional Tacitus is, considering he's only run 4 times for a trainer that takes his time with horses.
Yeah, and the thing I noticed about Tacitus at the Wood is I went down to the paddock to look at him prior to the race, and he looked like a 5-year-old against 2-year-olds standing in there. I loved his temperament and the way that he was carrying weight, and he looked like a horse that was going to need a race going into the Kentucky Derby. He got that race in the Wood, and with Hall of Fame trainer Belmont training him, you got to like his chances.
Sugar McGahee's win with Orb was very popular in the sport. Tacitus were to win for Bill Mott, that would be a very popular one as well.
And also Richard Mandela with Omaha Beach, too. There are some nice stories in this race, as there should be.
We're going to take a break in the action. More to come, including Mizzen Max back in action. He'll be the one to beat. As we look ahead, some more coming up here at Belmont Park. Michelle Nevin sends out this 5-year-old mare who's never been worse than second in 7 career starts.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
There's one thing that everybody wants in our game is they want speed. Daredevil has the speed. You know that he ran a 107 Beyer when he won the Champagne Stakes, the Grade 1. That's faster than Uncle Mo, Scat Daddy, and Union Rags.
As a 2-year-old, he ran a 96 Beyer when he broke his maiden, a 107 Beyer in the Champagne, beating a nice horse in Upstart. He is by more than ready, another feather in his cap. I can't wait to see these horses run it too.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one of a kind, high speed, high stakes action. And Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Run Happy was the fastest 3-year-old sprinter of his generation.
Run Happy is stamping his horses. And they all got great necks, great hind legs. They all got a good walk, and this colt moves very, very well. Very smart. He hasn't turned a hair since we had him. First day we turned him out, he was very, very gentle in his paddock and did everything right. He's got an exceptional pedigree.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
We're back on America's Day at the Races, and we check in Hot Springs, Arkansas, as we get set for race 5 coming up from Oaklawn Park, $12,000 maiden claiming event. At a mile and a 16th, as you take a look at the current odds, Song of the Nile for Robertino Diodoro, taking a big drop down in class. For more, let's check in with Nancy Holthus.
Thanks so much, Greg. You know it's a wide open field when the morning line favorite is set at 7-2, but not going to get 7-2 right now, as your current favorite is right now 7-5. That is with the number 9 Song of the Nile. As you mentioned, should get an asterisk next to its last performance, ran third, beaten 17 lengths, but the winner was a clear 16 3/4 length victor last out at Evangeline, going the mile. Should appreciate the little bit added distance at 1 1/16 today. Does take a significant class drop in for the lowest level in his career, down to the 12.5 today. Very hot barn from Robertino Diodoro. Orlando Mojica in the irons. Does take the second start off of the slight break, and the barn fires at a very high percentage when doing so, roughly about 27%. Certainly bred to go this distance and should favor so. Coming from the Zayat Silks, those silks certainly familiar here, as they have sent out some very impressive runners here at Oaklawn in the past. Another one to take a look at is the number 11, My Macho Man, coming from the barn of trainer Randy Morris. Certainly not an ideal post, breaking from that far outside gate at the distance of 1 1/16. This horse has been showing some improvement, coming off a good fourth at tougher maiden 16, going 1 1/16. Third time at the distance, should show a solid effort. Also, the number 3, Moon Unit, from the barn of Ron Moquette and Calvin Burrell. They've been a pretty good, silent, but very solid trainer-jockey duo. Greg?
All right, Nancy, thank you. So 3-2 on the 9 here, Song of the Nile. And if those previous 2 races weren't on the form sheet, this horse would be a big price. But went to Robertino Diodoro, second and third, but beat a combined 27 lengths.
Yeah, he's way the worst to beat. I knew the 4-1 morning line was a pipe dream, but the one thing that would concern me is, can he transfer that form from Louisiana, Evangeline Downs, Delta Downs, to a track like Oaklawn? That would be my one concern with him.
Yeah, I think you got to look. The last time he ran at one of the major racetracks, Keeneland, Oaklawn Park, maiden special weight at Keeneland. Granted, that was no maiden 12.5 at Oaklawn Park, but he was beaten 11 lengths, and the other times he tried maiden special, he was getting beat double figures every time. So I think this price is a fit for him, but in saying that, he's a standout over the rest of them. This is probably, on paper, what he's worth, what he looks like he's worth.
Yeah, I think he's just running where he belongs, and he's supposed to be favored. I mean, maybe the 7, Bet It All to win. The last race by that horse farm man, Nick Zito, was good enough.
Maybe Moon Unit to 3. Equipment change, blinkers going on, starting to become a career maiden, though. This is start number 12.
And the 5 seconds and thirds, and he's lost at even money in 6-5 in his last couple of starts. I hate that, you know? But sometimes they're short prices, and they come back, and they're a much bigger price, and you get the money.
So breaking from post 9, Song of the Nile is today the day. Lowest level he has run for yet. Now with Robertino Diodoro, let's send it out to Vic Stauffer. Here is race 5 from Oaklawn.
They're at the post. They're off. Slow start for Gordy. VTAC MD and Moon Unit shows speed. Song of the Nile is close up, so is Bet It All to win. And a conspicuous box. AP Royal and an improving Gordy are next. Then comes Moose God Even, followed by Dreamin' and Schemin', and the trailer is My Macho Man, and the leader is VTAC MD. VTAC MD is the leader to the backstretch, as Song of the Nile is kept way to the center by Orlando Mojica. Doesn't want to go up and challenge yet, as Song of the Nile is second, 3/4 of a length to Bet It All to win. Moon Unit stays at the rail for Calvin Burrell. Then it's a length to Conspicuous Box, 5th with about 5 lengths to make up. He's 2 lengths in front of Concrete Finisher. Gordy is midfield with about 7 to close. AP Royal is 8 from the front. Then it's a big gap back to Moose God Even, and then further back to the 2 trailers, Dreamin' and Screamin', and My Macho Man. VTAC MD is the leader. Song of the Nile begins to inch after him in second. VTAC MD 3/4 of a length. Song of the Nile has every chance to outfinish him. Now it's 3 lengths to Conspicuous Box. Moon Unit stays at the rail. Then comes Concrete Finisher, 4 back to AP Royal, VTAC MD, and Song of the Nile still 1-2. And VTAC MD is still there at the top of the stretch. In fact, he has opened up a 3-length lead on Song of the the Nile in second. Moon Unit moves through at the rail to take third. VTAC MD has 3/16 to get, and he is 4 lengths in front. Song of the Nile is second. Then to the outside in conspicuous box, Moose got even, but VTAC MD comes to the final 16th, and he's well in front. VTAC MD. Moose got even is going to run up into second, but VTAC MD is going to take him all the way to the wire to win. VTAC MD. VTAC MD won by 3. Moose got even was second. Song of the Nile third. Conspicuous box finished 4th.
VTAC MD stretching out for the first time for Thomas Van Berg. Blinkers coming off, and a victory at a big price.
And Blinkers coming off, yeah, for the first time here today, and big change. 12th beating 27 last time out, and 10,000 today. Big change. Maybe he likes the hot weather.
Got the front. Well, first time on a fast track in a maiden claiming race. That's the best red board I can do on this one.
Never hurts yet to get to the lead in a race where you don't have horses with a lot of heart who don't know how to find the wire. Welcome to those who've just joined us, by the way, on Fox Sports 2. Great to have you with us on our first America's Day at the races of the season. It is opening day of the fall meet. Spring meet, sorry, I'm jumping ahead, at Belmont Park. That, of course, was Oaklawn Park, big price with VTAC MD, but we have Belmont as well. Greg Wolf alongside Hall of Fame jockey Gary Stevens, New York Racing Association handicapper Andy Serling, and we're getting set for some good racing coming up. The Affirmed Success, our feature today here at Belmont Park in Cindergard. Appropriate, it's Avengers opening weekend. Of course, Thor back in action on the racetrack today as well. He was brilliant as a 2-year-old. He's had a couple of near misses as a 5-year-old.
Yeah, and today hopefully is his day, getting his kind of racetrack today, so we'll see what happens with Cindergard today.
I think he got a lot of credit to his trainer, John Terranova, because after Cindergard ran that tremendous race when second by a nose in the Champagne, he basically couldn't get out of his own way for 2 years. Transferred from Todd Pletcher to the John Terranova bonnet. John and his wife Tanya do an exceptional job, take care of Bob Baffert's horses when they come here. He has absolutely got this horse back to the top of his game. Remarkable job by them.
He'll be dropping out of a graded stakes last time out in the Tom Fool. That was a bit over his head, but he has been right at this level. He certainly fits. 3-1 on the morning line. You see Tribeca out, takes out some of the speed, so changes the complexion of this race a little bit as well. Let's check in with Maggie Wolfendale for more on today.
And guys, the field for this 6th race is heading out off the turf event. Translates to 1 1/8 here on the main track for these maiden fillies. And your favorite, rightfully so, is a main track entrant, and that's number 10, Safta, as she'll try to go even further after tiring, albeit in a very tough race. Gulfstream Park Oaks was her second start of her career as a maiden. Now, with that being said, though, I know she gets some class relief here. Not entirely sure that 1 1/8 is really going to suit this filly. Granted, it is one turn here, so maybe that helps her chances. She's extremely fit, but she's just not necessarily built like a horse who just wants to keep going and galloping all day. But she has that advantage because most of these horses have the turf form. But a horse that I'm a bit interested in is number 4 in here on the inside is Nonsensical for Tom Albatrani. She'll get back on a main track, but this time it's a wet one. Whether she handles it or not, I don't know. She does look more like a turf horse, but boy, is she big and beautiful, and if some of these horses get stuck in the stamina department, she's going to be the one that just keeps galloping. Greg?
Maggie, thank you. You see the pick 4. It is coming up here. Paula Duca, of course, put a ticket together for us. We'll try and show that again for our Fox viewers as well. But 72,000 plus in the pool coming up in the pick 4, and you can play along. Get signed up, started with Naira Bets. Bet $200 as a new member. You'll get $200 bonus in your account when you use the promo code LIVE at sign up. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Go to nairabets.com or download the Naira Bets app. So race 6 will kick off this late pick 4. Moved off the turf. Was to be 1.25 miles. Now it will be 1 1/8. And we have a 3-5 favorite in Safta. But taking a look at the 4 here to kick things off. 1, 2, and 3 are out. This is Nonsensical with Joe Bravo.
Obviously, like most of these meant for the turf, the one dirt race not good, but is definitely bred to move up on a wet track.
No point given, as in KNOW, point given.
I'll make a comment on this one. Her daddy loved Belmont Park. He didn't mind the mud either.
She's no point given.
Good point. Yeah, 18-1, not taking the attention point given is getting either. That was the first Belmont I think I ever saw live, by the way.
Wow.
Here is more likely than not 5-2 on the board. Manny Franco, Chad Brown.
They tried this turf horse once in the dirt, and she was a distant second to a then talented horse in Pecan Patty. They'll take another shot.
SAFTA, here's a main track only entrant. Faced Gulfstream Park's Oaks winner Champagne anyone last time out.
If she handles the wet track and runs back to her last race, she's a massive overlay at 4-5.
6-1 on Midnight Party for Jimmy Jerkins.
I thought this one was very interesting on the turf. She's bred to go long, but dirt pedigree, minor, but some for a wet track.
And Sanders Empire. Big price on the outside. Mike Luzzy rides for Edmund Pringle.
This could be the battle in the race. No point given, and Sanders Empire coming down the stretch together in 5th and 6th.
I wondered when that punchline was coming in. Let's take a look at SAFTA in action. 4-5 on the board. First time out at Gulfstream, sprinting 6 furlongs, was able to hit the board in an 8-horse field.
Yeah, Gary, I don't know. She broke about a half length to 3/4 slow, but she just took herself completely out of the race early, but she made a significant run at the end. And unlike a lot of closing sprinter types, she showed she wanted more distance.
Right, and a lot of trainers will run one the first time out knowing that they need to go long. They'll sprint them the first time. They've never had a lot of dirt kicked in their face in the morning. She was drawn down inside, got that dirt. She dropped back, and she did make a bladed run, and then stretches out for the Gulfstream Park Oaks, and she didn't embarrass herself in there at all.
No, I mean, she ran sensationally, and I think a lot of people, myself included, believe that Champagne Anyone, who won that race, is probably the strongest contender in the Kentucky Oaks behind Bellafina.
Yeah, Bellafina's going to be a monster in that performance, but
you're so California biased.
Her record's incredible, come on. But she did get beat at Churchill Downs.
I think that's a bit of a
She
concern.
had an excuse that day, though.
Yeah, we'll see. The competition's going to be tougher. This is a very good horse, Champagne.
Look, Simon Callahan, speaking about Bellafina, he said that the filly was in heat last year, and that is the time they come in heat, and it affects the fillies different, every one of them. Some of them thrive when they're doing that. Other one, they don't want to come out of their stall. They don't want to perform. It would be some kind of worry, but I've seen this filly really mature over the winter time. She's grown up. Her behavior has been great. She's already traveled and performed well when she traveled. So I think she is the deserved favorite.
Oh, no question. It was such an aberrationally bad effort, too.
Yep.
Meanwhile, back to this race that kicks off this late pick 4, and here is more likely than not, who was a very highly likely winner in this spot, Chad Brown, Klarovich Stables, and Manny Franco connections.
The problem with her is that she's a bit of a phony on her preferred surface, the turf. You look at that race 3 back at Keeneland, and you look at it on paper and think, well, she ran a good third in that race, beaten half length. She literally had the race won and had passed the horse who won the race, and that horse came back on to beat her, and she couldn't even pass the leader. She's just not that good, but she's second choice. It's a big purse. You leave her in.
Yeah, but here's the thing, Andy. She's only had 4 races. She's just turned 4. She's had 1 out in 2019, and it wasn't a bad performance. It was on the turf at Aqueduct, which just finished up. It was the first race off the layout for Chad Brown. So I'm going to give her a little more respect than what her form says coming off of our second race off the layoff for her connections.
Described her performance at Keeneland and brought up memories of Analyze It here at Belmont.
Well, that's more of a nightmare for Chad Brown. That was a lot of money. I mean, last time out, to be fair, on the turf, she was also compromised by an extremely slow pace and a wire-to-wire winner.
Well, she is on the board at 2-1, right next door to her. An even money favorite as you get a look at Midnight Party for Jimmy Jerkins. Dylan Davis, 6-1 right now.
This would be my Colden number, 10-11. I think this horse is going to be okay in this horse. I liked her on the turf, so I'm inclined to think she may run well here, and she is bred to like a wet track.
Looked like she was making a big move in that second turf start and then just flattened out a little bit. Of course, we'll have to wait and see how she does now on this off track.
Yeah, it's a guess. I mean, at the end of the day, off tracks can play, they'll help or hurt favorites and long shots alike. And listen, maybe soft of the 10 isn't going to like a wet track. And if that's the case, then it's sort of open to anybody.
So a minute to post on this sloppy sealed track here. Race taking off the turf to kick off the late pick 4. Let's go to Maggie for more.
Thanks, guys. guys, and horses are just making their way to that long chute, which is actually connected to the training track here at Belmont for this 1 1/8 miles. I want to check in with the horse you guys were talking about. I think it's interesting, Andy bringing up the pedigree with number 11, Midnight Party, to handle a wet track. Well, guys, she also has the physicality of a horse that would appreciate it. Kind of upright in those pasterns, more of a lighter frame, kind of agile filly. I like the way she warmed up over it as well. And coming in off about of a 2-month break here, she looked extremely fit. And Jimmy Jerkins is a guy, at least from my perspective, that he tends to take his time. He'll bring them along. And I just feel like this filly might be primed and ready for a decent effort. Obviously, though, she would have preferred the turf. Greg.
All right, Maggie, thank you. 5-1 right now, and the daughter of Ghost Sapper breaking for post 11. Promised our Fox viewers another look at Paul Duca's late pick 4 ticket. And here it is. He's going to go 2 deep in this first leg. The 9 and 10 single to 4. Paul, explain yourself. Here's Paul Duca.
Well, listen, guys, you got to get your prices in the last 2 races. You know, obviously the 9 and the 10 here, the 2 horses to beat in here. And then Ms. and Mass, obviously she is the mare to beat. She's got 3 wins. She's a multiple winner. And I think she's got to beat the Chad Brown filly in there that only has 1 win. So that's going to be a test for her. So either you want to play this pick 4 and go light in these first couple races, try to get the prices late, or play the late double, guys.
Well, I apologize if Paul had a witty interaction with me there. We could not hear Paul at all. Hopefully you could at home. But just about all loaded up. And again, the favorite, 4-5 on the board from post 10. SAFTA main track only entrant. Started the late pick 4. Larry Colmus with the call here on America's Day at the Races from Belmont Park.
Here's Sanders Empire coming up to the outside stall, and they're all in line. They're off. And it is Nonsensical out for the lead with More Likely Than Not away running in second, and SAFTA's out third on the outside of them. Then Sanders Empire, followed by Midnight Party, and No Point Given is trailing the field out of the chute and onto the backstretch. Nonsensical in front. Joe Bravo gets her out there by a length and a half over SAFTA. More Likely Than Not taken back off of them after a 24.16 initial quarter mile. Midnight Party is fourth and some 5 lengths from the front, with Sanders Empire 2.5 lengths off of her, and No Point Given trailing the field. So they continue up the backstretch. Nonsensical, the pacemaker, by a length and 3/4 to SAFTA. More Likely Than Not tracks them from third position at this stage, and then it's Midnight Party in fourth through a 48.54 half mile. They race for the far turn. Sanders Empire is now 10 lengths behind, and then No Point Given. Nonsensical all the way so far, and SAFTA with a half mile to run gets a bit closer now. After that comes More Likely Than Not in third. Midnight Party's going to ride the rail around the turn with 4 lengths to make up. The others have been left behind. Nonsensical by 2. And then it's SAFTA. More Likely Than Not in Midnight Party, who continues to save all the ground. 3/4 up in 1:13.26 seconds, and they're coming to the top of the stretch with Nonsensical trying to take them the distance here. Turning for home about 4 paths off the rail with a 2-length lead on SAFTA as they come into the final furlong. And they have left the others behind. It's now 6 lengths more back to Midnight Party and More Likely Than Not. It is still Nonsensical. SAFTA's trying her best, but Nonsensical is going to go every step of the way on the lead. A 2-length score on SAFTA, and it was about 8 or 9 back to Midnight Party and More Likely Than Not.
Nonsensical, daughter of Street Sense with the win for Tom Albertrani. Good Dolphin with Joe Bravo aboard.
Yeah, Nonsensical got a decent lead and got a flyer away from the starting gate. And I was commenting earlier when asked by Andy about if I ever used the tire tracks when I was coming riding here at Belmont. When we show this replay, take a look where he has Nonsensical coming down the stretch. Had her in the 4th path on the tire track, and you can make it out on camera. And had plenty left to hold off your huge favorite.
Yeah, I mean, the favorite was ridden like she could just sort of get by this horse at any time, and Nonsensical able to cut out a fairly moderate pace, and just the favorite could never really make a dent on her.
Yeah, and I think that they probably thought that Manny Franco was setting on so much the best going into the far turn, and they can get away from you here at Belmont with these wide sweeping turns. If you don't attack early enough sometimes when a horse is floating on the lead, but he was riding with confidence, and the price said he should have been riding with confidence at 3 to 5. He was waiting until the head of this stretch, and it didn't work out.
4, 10, 11, 9 finish. Nonsensical with a victory, and this is going to play big in both the Naira Bets late pick 5 and the pick 4. 7-2 beats a 3 to 5 favorite. That never hurts things.
No, this horse will be better than 7-2 with the pick 5 or pick 4.
So Joe Bravo, Nonsensical. Tom Albertrani kick off the late pick 4 with a victory here at 7-2. All these prices coming up for you in just a moment. SAFTA does not get it done here as an odds-on favorite back at Oaklawn. Huge price here on VTAC MD. Thomas Van Berg, trainee. Blinkers coming off today. Stretch out in distance and a win.
Nice price. How about that exacta?
I know the boss at home, Mark DiDomenico, the owner, he's going to be pretty happy with that price. He will play a little bit. And Tom Van Berg, a lot of his daddy in him. He's not afraid to make changes. Blinkers go on today and gets the job done.
Well, there's Nonsensical back in the winner's circle. We will have these prices for you when we return on America's Day at the Races. Still to come, the speedy I Love Lulu looks to turn the tables on Celtic Chaos as the two veteran sprinters here on the Naira circuit go toe-to-toe once again in the Affirmed Success. Coming up next.
Run Happy is simply super. He polishes off an outstanding campaign with a dominant victory in the Malibu.
No medication, no problem. Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
This successful son of AP Indy has sired 6 millionaires, including Eclipse champion West Coast, a multiple Grade 1 winner and runner-up in the $16 million Pegasus World Cup. Flatter is adding even more stakes winners to his outstanding record at stud. In the auction ring, Flatter topped the 2018 Phasing-Tipton July Seal with a $520,000 yearly. Success on the track, success in the ring. Flatter, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
America's Day at the Races brought to you in part by the champion sprinter Run Happy. Never lost in his career while sprinting. Perfect 7 for 7 and did it all while racing medication free. Now stands for $25,000 in legendary stall number 1 at Claiborne Farm. Well, the Steve Sexton Mile Grade 3, we're going to have this for you over the weekend on Sunday. B Jersey used this race as a springboard to a win in the Met Mile last year. Steve Asmussen has a chance to win it again this year.
Actually, 2 straight. Bob Baffert 2 years ago as well with more spirit. I don't think the winner of the Steve Sexton Mile is winning the Met this year. I'm going to go out on a limb. Just lay it all out there right now.
Still, good field.
Fun race.
And you never know. Did you think B Jersey? Well, you did think highly of B Jersey coming in last year.
You tried, didn't you?
I
you
tried.
Wanted to. He's a nice horse, and he's really improving. I thought he ran very well behind the talented Vino Rosso, who really had no chance in the Carter in his next start the way the race was run, and he's the horse to beat.
Title ready. He's going to be looking for his 4th career win. Yeah, we just missed to Vino Rosso in that stymie back on March the 9th. This will be his 3rd start of the year coming up. In this race, part of a cross-country pick 5 that returns on Sunday. Begins at 4:45 Eastern Time. Includes Belmont and Lone Star.
And Phil D'Amato has a couple in here. They're contenders. King Abner and Airstrike. Does a terrific job, Gary. California trainer.
Yes, he does. Does a wonderful job and moves a lot of horses around the country and has a lot of success.
Back here at Belmont Park, late pick 4. It is underway. And a bit of an upset that's going to play even bigger than 7-2, which is what you got on Nonsensical, because Nonsensical beat a 3-5 favorite that everyone was playing in SAFTA. Congratulations to Godolphin, Tom Albertrani, and Joe Bravo.
I am now dead in my pick 5.
I am sorry.
No, that's down to a single 3 to 5 shots to lose.
We do have a late pick 3 ahead.
I'm well aware.
Naira Betts, late pick 5 follow along, just under $44,000 in that pool. So odds-on favorite kicks it off with Avelina, but an odds-on favorite defeated in leg 2.
That's a big boost. A lot of people like me single the 10 in there. I think it's you're well on the way to it paying okay, regardless of the results.
Well, race 7 as we move along, entry-level allowance. It is a 6.5 furlong sprint. We talked earlier about Ms. and Max. Michelle Nevin will send this 5-year-old mare out for her 2019 debut, but right now it's Break Curfew who's the favorite on the board for Chad Brown.
I gotta tell you, Break Curfew is a tough one to read. When she won her debut, she looked like a good horse, but she did ride a gold rail, and she has been atrocious in 2 subsequent starts.
All right, we'll talk more about the 7th coming up here at Belmont as we continue along on America's Day at the Races. More live action coming up on opening day of the spring meet here at Belmont Park. Stick with us. We'll be back to feature the Affirmed Success still to come as well.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. americasbestracing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
There's a power so selfless, it has the ability to heal, to inspire, to unite, to change your life.
Summer Cruz is here at Spruce Lane Farm, and he's been a really intelligent horse since he got on the farm.
He's just got great balance and presence. He's got a really good mind, and he does everything that we like to do so far. The plans with this colt are probably to take him to Saratoga or to Keeneland Book 1 or 2. He fits those. We paid $250,000 for him, so he was an expensive horse, but that's where he belongs.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
America's Day at the Races, and America's Best Racing wants to know which of these horses who won the Derby and Preakness, lost though in the Belmont, was your favorite, or Emblem, Funny Side, Smarty Jones, or California Chrome. So let us know your thoughts on that. Of course, before we had that 37-year drought when American Pharoah ended things, it almost wasn't nearly that long because you were on a horse that nearly got it done in the Belmont. You battled with Freehouse, and then Touch Gold came to get you. Talk us through that stretch.
I can't believe that you guys are actually making me go through this again. I have dreams or nightmares, whatever you want to call it, every night. But on the day, Silver Charm coming into the lane. That's Freehouse on the outside, his old adversary that he ran second to in the Kentucky Derby. He was in a photo finish with me in the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. Right there on the outside, that's a horse that I actually won an allowance race on him and won the Lexington. Who's his name? Touch Gold and Chris McCarron, who had been riding Silver Charm. Musical chairs, and Chris rode a great race. I actually hit the lead a little earlier than I would have liked to, and Silver Charm would only run as fast as his competition was forcing him to run. Chris knew that about Silver Charm, got out in the middle of the racetrack, And I don't think Silver Charm or myself were aware that he was out there at the time. I don't know if it would have mattered anyway. Touch Gold was a really good racehorse.
Well, and you told me an interesting story early off air that you thought you put him away much earlier in the race, right?
Yeah, I did, and that's the thing that Belmont Park can do to a person is I moved what I didn't think was a move at about the 5.5 pole, and I passed Touch Gold, and I thought that Chris was out of horse. So when I heard a horse coming in the final yards, I knew somebody was coming, but I had no idea that it was Touch Gold. Not that it would have made any difference, but that's what Belmont Park can do to you as a jockey.
Well, Bob Baffert said that's the only way you beat Silver Charm. If you can't see it coming, Touch Gold was able to make that happen. But nearly a Triple Crown, we wouldn't have had to wait so long.
Well, there were a lot of those near misses and a lot of good horses. We were talking earlier, and I agree with you, that Risen Star lost the Belmont and then won the next two, and the Derby, and you won that Derby. He might have been the unluckiest of all of those horses, but there were a lot of very good horses that won 2 out of 3.
Yeah.
Bob Baffert's first Kentucky Derby winner, and still his favorite of his Kentucky Derby winners. Every time he still goes to see him at Old Friends, says he still gets choked up. 6th at Oaklawn, starter allowance. And these were the final odds at post time. Oh, sorry, we have post break coming up. Googly Doo, we're still getting close to this one. 3-1 on the board right now. It was 8-1 Morning Lion. This horse had won 4 in a row at one point until back on March 31st as we take a look at Wildwood Deja Vu, who's been off since late February.
I thought this horse was very, very dangerous to wire this field.
Davka is the 2, a 5-time winner for Ingrid Mason.
Yeah, I think it a little bit tough, and you wonder if this horse can hold the form that ex-trainer Norm McKnight had gotten him.
For's Mao, 34-1, just claimed off of Steve Asmussen.
Yeah, he looks a little bit slow on paper.
Here is a Steve Asmussen runner, Nigon's Glory, who he just claimed off of Joe Sharp.
Have to move this horse up off of claiming a $5,000 race as Ricardo Santana leads the rider standings right now.
DRC all-inclusive. He comes in off of victory at Oakland on a wet fast track.
Yeah, he got that fast pace, and I think we'd actually seen that race on one of our shows earlier, and the race sort of fell apart late.
Google Adu put together 4 in a row. It's a 13-time winner, 10-year-old.
He's the other speed along with the 1, but you have to wonder, is he going to hold that form he had for his prior trainer, Carl Broberg?
Niels Diamond, the 7, at 3-1.
Well, a hunch for Greg Wolf, who is the biggest Neil Diamond fan there is.
You got to take me to a concert one of these days.
Well, you're just excited about Flo Rida coming on Belmont Day.
I cannot wait.
After Andy Grammer, now Flo Rida, your dreams come
Gets
true.
better
out
every
here at
year.
Belmont Park.
Greeley Spirit went by at 8-1 for Joe Sharp, and here's Bud Rowe for Thomas Vance.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as a chance, sort of like a stalking speed type, probably sitting 3rd early here.
All right, so live look, and you got to root for the 10-year-old, right? 6 horse, 10 years old, 3-1 favor right now, looking for the 14th win of his career.
These horses are the bread and butter of the game, right? These old warriors. You have to just love and respect these horses wherever they're racing.
I'll tell you what I love is Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana, who are dealing with some of the best, most talented racehorses. These horses are still talented, still run hard, and they are the bread and butter. But to see these guys, Ricardo still riding horses like this, those riders are our bread and butter as well.
Well, you know, you don't saddle 2,000-plus starters a year by only running stake horses,
Nope.
and Steve is certainly not immune from claiming a $5,000 horse like Nissan Glory.
And he invests his own money. Take a look at the owner, Steve Asmussen, and he owns a lot of these cheaper horses that run across the country, not afraid to dive in and claim one and just stick with them.
Well, this horse is amazing, Nijan's Glory. I mean, he's made 55 career starts with 11 wins, 25 wins in seconds, and 34 out of 55 hitting the board. I mean, that's remarkable for a horse 9 years old, and he's still going strong.
Well, Steve Asmussen, he sends out the 4, but it is Google Adu, the 6. That's the 10-year-old. Who's the favorite on the board? Vic Stauffer with the call, race 6, Oaklawn.
Spirit and Bud Row are next, and the trailer is DRC All-Inclusive, and the leader is Wildwood Deja Vu. Wildwood Deja Vu up the backstretch, a length and a quarter in front of Gugliato in second. It's 2 lengths to Nigon's Glory and Neil's Diamond together. Third and fourth and about 4 from the front. Bud Row and Davka are next, then DRC All-Inclusive, and the trailer is Forze Mao, and the leader is Wildwood Deja Vu as Gugliato tracks in second. Wildwood Deja Vu, 3/4 of a length to the 10-year-old Gugliato, who has every chance from there in second. Nigon's Glory is third, then DRC All-Inclusive and Bud Row, and Gugliato is getting closer at the top of the stretch. Wildwood Deja Vu, a half length. Gugliato now. Here comes Nigon's Glory with a solid run in the center of the racetrack, and Nigon's Glory has taken over the lead. His danger is DRC All-Inclusive, but Nigon's Glory leads by 3. DRC All-Inclusive is second, then Wildwood Deja Vu. Nigon's Glory in front. Nigon's Glory won by 4.5. DRC All-Inclusive was second. Wildwood Deja Vu third, and maybe Forze Mao for fourth.
He wins a lot of races. Steve Asmussen does it again. Nigon's Glory here, and this will win off the claim.
And Nigon's Glory wins a lot of races, as we were saying before the race. Another winner for him, and one with authority, first off the claim. And he was worth the money last time for $5,000, proves it today.
And you can see why Ricardo Santana is the leading rider. I mean, he just gives him an absolutely perfect ride. It may not have mattered in this case. He was so much the best, but he did everything right.
It sure didn't hurt.
One of the absolute best young riders in the country. He started to really make a dent at Saratoga last summer. It's going to be fun to watch him ride this summer at the Spa.
Good guy, too. I like him. He's a good kid, Ricardo. I like to see them do well.
7th at Belmont, in case you did get knocked out of the late pick 4, we got a late pick 3 that starts right here, and it's 6.5 furlongs, entry-level allowance. Mizzen Max, as we take another look at the odds, now has become the favorite. That was the 8-5 morning line favorite. 5-year-old mare for Michelle Nevin, who has never been worse than second in 7 career starts, and there she is.
She is the horse to beat in her talent and lost to a very nice stakes quality horse in Dream Pauline last time. Michelle Nevin is one of my favorite trainers. I think Michelle is one of the best trainers on the ground, but her numbers off of layoffs are not strong, and I just worry. This is a 5-year-old making her 8th start. Gary, she has stops and starts all the time when she runs, and sometimes I worried eventually it just catches up to them.
Yeah, it may do, and Michelle Nevin, she's very, very patient. She doesn't rush her horse. She uses that race back as the get ready race and hopes that they're good enough to overcome that. Doesn't twist on them in the mornings, and that's why you see these horses stick around for a long time.
Yeah, and I mean, the race we're looking at here, if you're not familiar with Dream Pauline, you're probably going to be familiar with it at some point during our shows because you'll probably see her win a graded stake. Source for the same connections, of course, as Rachel Alexandra, Stone Street Stable. Good Magic last year as well. She's a very, very good runner, and this was a strong race. She runs as well as she ran in this race. She'll win this race by a pole.
I would say so. Dream Pauline, as you said, she struggled to get by her. She widened on him at the end there, and that day was 3/4 of a mile, 3/4 of a mile today on the sloppy racetrack. She's 2 for 2 on a sloppy racetrack or a wet racetrack.
And a 6.5 furlongs, the odd 6.5 furlong distance.
You mentioned, though, Michelle Nevin, not her strength coming off the bench, and this filly, or mare now in particular, her probably worst race. She hasn't had that many bad races at all, but it was off the bench.
Yeah, I'm concerned about that. That's why I took a shot against her as the favorite.
For more, let's go to Maggie Wolfendale.
And guys, sitting at 2-1 is number 4, Mizzen Max, as she comes back off the bench. And as you alluded to, she is a filly that would probably need a start coming back off of that layoff, just because she just doesn't look quite as sharp and cranked up as I've seen her in the past. And 2, she often is just really muscular, really brawny, and she is, but she's not quite where she needs to be when she puts in those huge performances. So I like her, but also those front bandages do go on. Now, it could be a product of the track being sloppy. That's something that Michelle does tend to do, but it is also coming back off of the layoff. Now, while Break Curfew is her main competition, and she looks absolutely fantastic, I'm a little interested in one of the 2 Kieran McLaughlin horses. Number 3 is It Just Hit the Wire, and while I haven't been her biggest fan, at least as a 2-year-old, she's done well. I know her form would not reflect that, but she has filled out. She's gotten stronger behind the saddle. Those hindquarters just look really powerful, and now she's turning back in distance. She is a sprinter from what I can work out, at least physically looking at her. I think she could pose a threat here, as she has also proven that she can handle a wet track, and the turn back in distance suits her down to a T. Greg?
All right, Maggie, thank you. Yeah, I was very intrigued by It Just Hit the Wire. That's a good look at her. Daughter of Bernardini, coming out of a stakes race at Laurel, and as Maggie mentioned, cutting back in distance.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you, I love a turn back. I just don't know if she's good enough, but I respect Maggie's opinion.
Well, there's Miz and Max making a nice appearance here, getting set for the post parade coming up.
You know, something else that you've got to think about. It's early in the year. We're only in May right now, or April, and it's just in the wire. 3-year-old stepping up against Olders for the first time in her career, and she's racing against some, even though she's run 5 times, some seasoned older fillies and mares that have been in some battles. I mean, you talk about Miz and Max running against Dream Pauline. It's just on the wire. She hasn't raced against any of those types. Well, she's going to face a different type today. And believe me, I don't know what it is, how they know, but they do know.
Well, she's going to face multiple winners, including this one here. Aunt Babe is right next door to her in post 2 for James Ferraro. And Aunt Babe just missed by a neck last time out.
And she's gotten in good form, especially now that she's been sprinting. I think she's a player in here. I actually picked her on top, took a small shot with her. Her recent races are good. Kind of between horses here, Gary, or maybe on the outside. I'm sorry, the horse who beat her got that trip inside between horses. Thought she ran very well in here.
Yeah, she was very game. She definitely didn't throw in the towel in the last 100 yards. I like that.
Here's Regal Retort. Jose Lezcano will be aboard for Steve Asmussen. 6-1, coming off a win last time out. 2 wins her last 3 starts.
She handled a wet track. I just feel once again that this is a tougher bunch, a lot tougher.
Here's Aunt Babe. We showed you that last start. She's a 3-time winner for James Ferraro.
Jimmy Ferraro, her trainer, has had a quietly strong Aqueduct meet with not a lot of stock and done a great job with this mare, filly.
It just hit the wire. This is the 3-year-old filly, one of 2 in the race for Kieran McLaughlin.
Well, I respect Maggie's opinion. I'm just afraid she may not be good enough.
8-1 on this filly by Bernardini. Miz and Max, the one to beat it. 2-1 on the board for Michelle Nevin.
If she runs her good race, she's going to win, but will she off a layoff?
Yeah, she's not raced since August 2nd at Saratoga. Here is Break Curfew Chad Brown trainee making career start number 4.
Is she one of these horses that just ran great in her debut and never ran well again? She's got to bounce back big time. She has speed, though.
She's a 3-year-old filly as well. Here's another 3-year-old filly, another Kieran McLaughlin runner. Take charge, Morella.
I thought she was the stronger of the 2 Kieran McLaughlin horses.
And Gypsy Janie on the outside. The 7 here, Rajiv Mirage aboard.
This is a very interesting long shot. She absolutely loves a wet track, has that big sloppy track win here at Belmont, and she's competed against some tough fields recently.
Yeah, coming out of the extra heat, ran 4th, beat just 3 lengths in that effort with a wide trip.
She ran fine in that race. I mean, this is not an easy field, but I think she's a bit of an interesting long shot throw-in.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break. We will be back. Race 7 coming up, and then it is the Affirmed Success. Regal Retort. There's Jose Lezcano, 6-1 on the board, trying to win for the 3rd time in the last 4 starts here in the 7th at Belmont.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
Warfront has sired 8 champions and 10 millionaires. Recent Grade 1 winners include Homesman, Fog of War, Lancaster Bomber, and European champion U.S. Navy flag, plus 2019 Kentucky Derby hopeful War of Will. He's also sire of the highest price yearling sold in North America in 2018, and international super sire on all surfaces and all fronts. Warfront, standing at Claiborne Farm.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than America'sBestRacing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
You're watching America's Day at the Races, opening day of the Belmont Spring Meet. Good to have you with us. Greg Wolf, Andy Serling, Gary Stevens, and Maggie Wolfendale. And we're getting set for the 7th, Gary, coming up, and the rain's coming down again.
Yeah, it's coming down again, and I talked about the weather we had prior to our show today, and that's why we're behind on schedule a little bit. We had a lengthy weather delay. They had to wait for lightning and the storm to get around us, and that weather is coming back right now. So they're trying to speed things up here a little bit. They're worried about some weather off in the distance. Quite frankly, I'm a little worried about it as well. But they're loaded into the gate here. We're going to move along quickly.
What's the biggest challenge when the rain starts coming down? It's not coming down that hard right now, but for a jockey, when it does start coming down, what do you have to deal with?
Well, it's not so much the rain right now. It's the lightning that's pending, and it's off in the distance. I'm not a fan of lightning. I wasn't a fan of lightning before I got metal put in my body, and now I'm in my body. And when you're going into that starting gate, it was always in the back of my head, man, just what if? What if? But they're not going to let things get that close. But those are the things that kind of go through your mind. It's not raining that hard right now. The track's in great condition, but they're worried about other weather that's behind
Grip on the reins, is that an issue at all, or not really?
Gloves nowadays, they've made it so much easier. Back in the day, we used to wear water skiing gloves. Now you use baseball batting gloves. You've got equestrian gloves that are made for the weather. They're insulated for the winter time. The undergarments, they're lighter. They're not as bulky. So all those sort of things make it much easier on today's young generation jockey than when I started.
Mizzen Max, the 4 from Michelle Nevin. Layoff not scaring bettors away. That is the 8-5 favorite. She will break from post 4, trying to collect the 4th win of her career. Race 7 here from Belmont Park. Larry Colmus with the call. You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2.
Gypsy Janie goes in, and they're all in line. They're off. Good start for Mizzen Max, who goes out in company with Break Curfew, and these two with Break Curfew now taking the lead up the backstretch, and Mizzen Max will yield and sit back in second. Take Charge Morella is third, and then it's It Just Hit the Wire, Regal Retort on the inside, and Gypsy Janie. The trailer, Aunt Babe, is 8 lengths behind. So they're running past this opening quarter mile in 22.59 seconds and moving for the far turn. With Break Curfew in front, the leader 3/4 of a length. Mizzen Max taken to the outside, second by 2. Take Charge Morella is third. It Just Hit the Wire, 4th and under pressure. And then comes Gypsy Janie to the outside. Regal Retort along the rail. And Aunt Babe beginning to make an impact from the back of the pack, closing the gap to 5 lengths while coming 3 wide, moving toward the top of the stretch. It is Break Curfew who turns for home in front after a 46.14 half, and they're into the stretch. Break Curfew off the turn. Take Charge Morella is on the outside. Coming through an opening down toward the rail is Regal Retort. Mizzen Max is back running in 5th. Aunt Babe is on the far outside. And now as they arrive at the 16th pole, Regal Retort rallies up the rail inside of Break Curfew. Take Charge Morella outside of them. These three are going to come to the wire together. It's going to be a driving finish that goes too close to call. Take Charge Morella or Regal Retort together. Break Curfew was between them in 3rd, and then came Mizzen Max.
Where's Paul LaDuca when you need him? Photo finish, Regal retort up the fence, or take charge, Morella to the outside?
Hey, I couldn't tell. And if I can't tell, it's close. It's ahead, Bob. Take another look
here
here.
it is.
We got a
6.
Outside.
6.
Gets
Just got him.
Just
That
got
late
up.
punch.
Dylan Davis, Kieran McLaughlin, Big Dom Racing Stable by the narrowest of margins, 5-1.
Look, and all of them were fighting for the position on the racetrack, and that's the tire marks. And the one comes up the rail, gets on the inside information highway. Back in the day, Mike Smith hugging the rail on that Breeders' Cup Day on a sloppy track here, and then Dylan Davis on that tire track out in the 8 path right now. And it's a hard-fought battle, and all 3 of these fillies ran their guts out.
Yeah, and another good effort too from the third-place finisher, Ray Kerfu. When you think about how the favorites stalked her, they were moving up front a little bit early, and she at least hung in and ran a credible race today.
And it was all 3-year-old fillies here in the trifecta.
There you go, just what I told you guys. The opposite of.
Well,
that happens a lot.
Maybe throwing a wrench into the plans.
I put myself in line for it. If you think you know something at the races, just check it.
I used 4 in the pick 5, no 1s and 6s, so I nailed the exact. I used 4 out of 7, and was nowhere close.
No, that's how close it was by a nose. Take
that was
charge,
like
Morella.
almost ahead. That's like 10 lengths. Gary, you've lost many tougher than that one.
Oh, I've been in many tougher than that one right there. In quarter horse terms, that was a half a length, but here you see him coming into the stretch. Here's the spots on the track I was talking about on this muddy Belmont Park. There are pathways out there, and whenever I'd fly in here and it was muddy, I took note of it and paid attention throughout the day, because form on these kinds of tracks, as Andy was saying earlier, form holds pretty true. And if you've seen something, some sort of bias early on in the day, those are the biases that the jocks are looking for, and they're looking for those paths out there right now.
When you came here to ride, I remember the fall of '95 when the Breeders' Cup was here. I remember you came for the whole meeting. Did you find it took a little time to get used to riding at Belmont Park?
Yeah, but I'd learned my lessons by then. When I came out here with Bobby Frankel in 1995, I'd ridden a lot of races here for Wayne Lucas, and it takes a while, and the reason it takes a while, I was telling Matt, excuse me, prior to the races today, that it's so easy to get lost at Belmont Park. It's so big and expansive, and when you're riding the one-turn route races here, say going a mile and a 16th, a mile and an eighth, you feel like you're going 24, 23 in deep change. You come back and look at the tote board, and you've gone 22 and change, you've gone 45 and 4, and it takes a while to adapt to that. And I don't know why it is that it feels like you're going so slow, yet you're going so fast. So those are the things that experience at Belmont Park helps you.
Lessons learned, and you found your way around this place pretty well in the end.
It wound up being my favorite racetrack to ride in the world, and the reason for that, I felt like if the best horse, that the best horse had the best chance of winning at Belmont Park, and I felt like a majority of the time that the best horse didn't win, it was because of jockey error, of not knowing the track well, or just not knowing your horse well enough. But it is a track you can overcome problems on. You can get stopped at different places, and because of the wide sweeping turns and the deep sand, you can overcome those problems, and give the best horse can still have a chance to come back. And even you know, if I made a mistake, if I was on good enough horse, they were going to get the job done.
And unlike a lot of tracks, sorry, Greg, ground loss isn't necessarily as important at Belmont Park. You can go a little wide here and still be okay.
Yeah, there were a lot of tricks I learned over the years. And the 3 Belmont stakes that I won, my horse actually switched into his right lead midway around the turn. And I learned early on that that wasn't a bad thing to happen here at Belmont Park. The turns are so sweeping, they can actually get away. You can be out in the middle of the racetrack and let them switch into the right lead, and they get a breather, and they might swap back into their left lead down the lane. It's not always a bad thing at Belmont Park.
Well, you had some great moments here. Of course, we mentioned earlier in the show, Belmont Stakes victory on Point Given for Bob Baffert. And Bob Baffert loaded again for this year's Triple Crown with 3 primetime contenders, including the 2-year-old champion, game winner. As we took a look again at the Kentucky Derby leaderboard, you saw Roadster up there as well, as we see the top 20 line up in there. So really only 19 from the States get in, because Master Fencer from Japan occupying that 20th spot. Let's start with Baffert's contingent here with Roadster, the Santa Anita Derby winner, and he worked today at Santa Anita. What'd you think of this work, Gary?
I thought it was a good work. I didn't think it was awesome work or anything, but Martin Garcia, he's riding Roadster in this workout. That's him down on the on the inside. He's not asking him to do a lot, but he doesn't look 100% comfortable to me as he had in earlier works this year, and the same thing last week. I noticed that his head, it looks like it might be a little bit higher than what we've seen in the past in some of his workouts. Is that something to be concerned about? I don't know if it is. His gallop out is decent. Again, nothing outstanding, but he had his last major work last week out of the starting gate.
I don't have a strong feeling of this horse other than the fact that he's a contender in here. I think of Bob's horses, though. I prefer Game Winner more.
Well, and Game Winner we're going to see here next, and I loved his work last week, and I loved this work again this morning. Again, Martin Garcia down on the inside on Game Winner, and I just see him getting fitter, and lower to the ground. And what I liked about this work, again, the gallop out. He hits the wire. He's under his own power right now, not really being asked to do anything. And then Martin's going to squeeze him a little bit right when he hits the finish line, and you're going to visually see him extend his stride going into this far turn.
I mean, it just feels like he hasn't had the best of it in his 2 preps. He ran well, but lost. I think some people think a little bit of the bloom is off the rose, so to speak, and I don't think so at all. I think he's run well in all his races.
I think he was champion 2-year-old as an immature 2-year-old last year. He was just doing things because he was a really good horse, and I think he's a little bit lazy in the mornings, and he's improving with every one of his races. I really feel like he needed these prep races, and he may have got more out of these prep races leading up to the Derby than any of the contenders.
Tickets to the Belmont Stakes Racing Festival selling fast. General admission tickets, $15 through April 30th. Enhance your experience with one of our all-inclusive premium hospitality packages. Buy tickets or reserve your seats at Ticketmaster.com or BelmontStakes.com. Belmont Stakes, where champions are crowned. So Roadster for Bob Baffert beat his stablemate, Game Winner, the 2-year-old champ, in that Santa Anita Derby, but it sounds like both you guys prefer going back to the horse who was your 2-year-old champion.
Sometimes you got to work backwards to front, and that's what I'm doing. I'm going back from the Kentucky Derby in my mind with those progression that you wanted from January until the first Saturday in May. And I'm seeing it physically when I see him in person at Santa Anita leading up to this workout. I just like the progression that I'm seeing in him right now.
Go ahead.
No, I'm a fan. I agree with Gary.
We've had some big upsets along the way in the Triple Crown preps. One of them came in the Louisiana Derby. War of Will, of course, was the big talk of that race. In the end, we had a 22-1 upset by my standards for Brett Calhoun. Came up with a big score, and this is him working.
And this is a big work right here. And if you didn't think this horse was for real, Brett Calhoun, he had a plan mapped out from the Louisiana Derby on to get him to the Kentucky Derby. It was a little bit conservative, but he knows this horse well. He works in 112-4. This is an extremely good workout at Gulfstream Park. I love the way he's getting over this track right here. And when he hits the finish line, Andy, watch what he does going into the turn. He gets 6 furlongs in 112 under no pressure at all, and he doesn't ask him to start working until right here, and he actually gallops out a mile in this workout.
He's a horse who has improved in leaps and bounds in his last 2 starts. So it opens up a real possibility that he has another real step forward in him, and if he does that, he's a player in this race.
So 22-1 upset winner of the Louisiana Derby. And just like that, now he's a contender for that first Saturday in May. For Brett Calhoun, here he is on his Derby chances.
I thought it went perfect. You don't want to overdo it, you don't want to underdo it, and that's kind of what I was looking for. He was very relaxed going to the pole, very fluid, very relaxed work all the way through. Finished up well, pretty effortless work. I think it was enough to hold our fitness level where we wanted to be, but wasn't a draining, taxing work, so I think it was pretty much ideal. These are incredible works that look like gallops, and I think that's what everybody likes about it. It's what I've liked about it. So obviously he's moving across this track very well.
All right, so we're getting close. We're 8 days away. Still think the Southern California contingent is the toughest group right now?
I don't know. It's so wide open. I think that you could, if you put these horses coming down the stretch, I would throw a blanket over about 8 or 9 of them that wouldn't be separated. I don't want to stretch out on a limb and pick a horse right now. If I had to choose today, it would probably be Game Winner, but that's, I think, more my heart, just knowing what I've known over the years, but I'm not speaking with any level of confidence. The jury's still out. We've still got, 8 days until the Kentucky Derby, and that's a lot of time of weather and other things going on, so we'll wait and see.
And I don't want to jinx them, but I think one of the things that's been nice, particularly this year, is that we haven't seen good horses dropping off. We've actually seen all these horses run competitively through the race, maybe not always winning, but running well in those races, and I think that's a nice sign. We haven't lost a big player or something.
Maybe with the exception of War of Will, who still could turn out to be what his connections thought of him. We'll find out.
We'll see. I mean, I'm never optimistic. I'm just, when a horse is a stumble like that on the Kentucky Derby trail, it just seems so hard to overcome.
And it was a stumble, a literal stumble from the starting gate, and they said that he wasn't just right the next morning. They didn't lose a lot of time training with him, but they were fair, they were honest. They said that he was stiff behind, and I think when you're that close to the Derby, it doesn't seem like it was that close at the time, but believe me, in training sense, 5 weeks is a long time.
Nygon's Glory back at Oaklawn, takes the 6th race. $12 for the win, trained by Steve Asmussen. Ricardo Santana Jr. aboard for the victory. And Steve owns this 9-year-old as well, who he just claimed off of Joe Sharp last time out. 7th at Oaklawn, 6 furlongs, entry-level allowance. And She Beast to the outside. Asmussen Santana team up again here, and this is a filly coming off a maiden victory last time out.
Yeah, I think she's a little overbet off that maiden win. I want to see it again.
Back at Belmont, Take Charge Morella for Kieran McLaughlin, Big Dom Racing Stable, and Dylan Davis.
1240 and a nice ride by Dylan. Dylan had a great winner here at Aqueduct. His business has really picked up. I've known his father and ridden with his father for many years, and he's got a small stable of racehorses now. And Jockey Davis, Dylan, he just had a second child here this past week. I saw tweeted on Twitter the other day, so congratulations on not only the win, but a new child.
New addition to the family. Naira Betts, late pick 5 follow along, so started formful with the odds-on favorite. Then we had a 3-5 beat by Nonsensical, and now Take Charge Morella, $12.40.
Oh, I mean, you look at the parlay, and the parlay's around a little over $100, but I'm going to say this one's twice the parlay, at least.
Our feature race, it is next from Belmont, the Affirmed Success for New York breds. And a lot of familiar names to many of you who follow this circuit. Some crafty veterans who've earned a lot of money in their day. Pat on the back was the morning line favorite. 7-1 right now. That price you would think is going to come down for Jeremiah Engelhardt, exiting the Grade 1 Cigar Mile. And Dylan Davis will look for another on board this 5-year-old son of Congrats when we come back.
Grade 1 winner Lee traveled the world competing against the best of his generation. A graded stakes winner on both dirt and turf, he set a new track record in the Grade 1 Don Handicap and retired with earnings of more than $2.3 million. With yearlings bringing up to $650,000 and his first crop of 2-year-olds hitting the track, the sky's the limit for this promising young stallion. Lee, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits in promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit NairaBets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at NairaBets.com.
It's America's original sport, and no one covers it better than americasbestracing.net. From the sport to the lifestyle, the best races, horses, and destination venues, cocktails, gambling, fashion, and more. America'sBestRacing.net is a sport for you. Live it, love it, bet it.
So my name is Robbie Herzl. I'm the yearly manager here at Claiborne Farm, and we've got the first crop of Run Happies this year. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with them. So first we have a colt out of Rapid Repair. He's a really nice colt. Very happy with how he's come along as a yearling. So there was a lot of demand for the weanlings last year. They sold for over 6 times their stud fee, and we're really excited for the yearlings to come through the sales, and we're expecting big things from them.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
You're watching America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 and MSG Plus, brought to you in part by Claiborne Farm. 100 years of doing the usual unusually well. Good to have you with us on this opening Friday at Belmont, and of course continuing action at Oaklawn Park out in Hot Springs, Arkansas, as well as we get set for race 7 coming up. Let's go to Nancy Holthus.
Well, Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana looking for another win on the program. They're hoping to do it here with She Beast, who breaks from the far outside of the starting gate. A pretty impressive maiden allowance victory last out when she debuted for the Asmussen barn, and it's a very impressive victory. It kind of looks like they were coming down the stretch, and it's almost like Ricardo kind of waited for the victory. It's like they dueled in the lane, and she did score that one by a neck. She does take on winners for the first time today, but she certainly has classes. She is half to Grade 1 winner, the Big Beast, who raced for the same connection. She has posted a very sharp 5-furlong bullet drill since that victory in 1 minute and 2/5. If you look a couple stalls to the inside is the number 8 Ministry, the Arkansas bred, who comes off the extended break. Now, she looks for her first win facing open runners, but there are a couple other Arkansas breds in the field. All 5 victories have been here at Oaklawn Park, 4 at today's distance. She's run well off the break before, so we'll see if she can run well off the break again today. Edgar Morales also having a very good day here, getting some prices in, and she's currently been bet down to 5-2, but it looks like she's going to have to take on She Beast, faces winners for the first time. Greg?
All right, Nancy, thank you very much. Yeah, you saw the 8 just sneak by in the picture there. That is Ministry. She's got form that should easily win in this field, but again, that layoff the concern.
Well, we saw it in the last race at Belmont, right? The horse coming off a long layoff, not really ready for the race. Her last 2 dirt races, forget about her last race in the turf. She had no chance in that spot. They'll smother this field, but I just can't take her a short price off the layoff.
It's a competitive field.
Yeah, looking back at her form, and she came off a long layoff from May of 17 to January of 18, and
held her form.
She won that race. Yeah, she won it, but she was facing a little less than what she is today.
But she held her form from before the layoff. I'm a little interested in Summer Storm, the 6.
All right, Ministry will break from post 8. She Beast from post 10 for Steve Asmussen with Santana aboard again. Here's Vic Stauffer.
They're off. Sweet Tatum and Usual Suspects, Shebang Baby close up. Our Lucky Break is in the mix as well. Then to the outside end, She Beast, followed by George's Reward and Ministry and Summer Storm. And there's about 3.5 from first to last. Both Ministry and George's Reward, 2 of the 3 Arkansas breds, had to check off heels up the backstretch. So Shebang Baby has a short lead from Veronica's Dream in second. She Beast is 3 deep in third. Summer Storm tightly between horses. Our Lucky Break is about to be joined in passed by George's Reward, the gray. Then Shebang Baby at the rail. Ministry only has 1 beat. That's Usual Suspect, and the leader around the far turn is Sweet Tatum. Sweet Tatum gets away a bit now. She's 3 lengths in front. George's Reward just ran up outside of Summer Storm. She Beast has dropped out. Ministry is 5 from the lead, and Sweet Tatum is the one to beat. Sweet Tatum past mid-stretch with a 3-length lead over Summer Storm, George's Reward, and Ministry. Then Shebang Baby and Usual Suspect, but Sweet Tatum is just too good. She's running right off their feet. Sweet Tatum 5 in front of Summer Storm and Shebang Baby. Sweet Tatum in front. Sweet Tatum won by 5. Summer Storm was second. Shebang Baby third. George's Reward finished 4th.
Wow, where'd that performance come from? Sweet Tatum, big price for Tim Martin.
I'm a tad bitter. Thought my 6 might get her on the turn.
Well,
I'm more than a tad bitter. I'm extremely bitter.
Andy, you knew early.
Yes, I did.
You knew early
Well,
before they came into the stretch. Well done picking the 6, so you're just second best.
Yeah, I mean, this horse just buried the field. She was the speed on paper, but she really ran today. Wow.
Mile, the best 4th win of her career, 5-year-old by To Honor and Serve. As we shift gears back to Belmont Park, our feature race, the Affirmed Success, coming up. Time for a paddock report with Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks. We just got the riders up call here in the paddock, Greg, as we'll check in with the layoff runner. That's number 4, Pat on the back. Now, this whole field, you have to love all of them. I think all 6 entrants together have made nearly $5 million. Pat on the back, though, he is one that's going to have to overcome that time away from the races. And honestly, I've seen him just appear to be more fit in previous efforts. So I like what I'm seeing from him, but he's also a horse that doesn't handle a wet track as well as some of the other ones in here, and that's kind of evident in the way that he looks. He is a bit of a heavier horse, heavier bodied, and they just don't tend to get over it quite as well as a lighter framed one would. So I'm going to take the wait and see approach here with Pat on the back. I respect him, but I'm going to look elsewhere, and elsewhere it goes to the horse with recency, and that's number 8, Syndergaard. He looks fantastic, and his head's in the game too. He's on the bridle, he's on the muscle, he's showing me great energy in here. He's really strong behind the saddle, which is something that he's lacked in previous times. So I think Syndergaard, maybe he'll be able to get the job done here, and he does have an affinity for the sloppy going. Greg?
There's Syndergaard, who's his Thanos in this race. Maybe I Love Lulu, opening weekend of Avengers. Syndergaard, again, we talked about this horse earlier. A couple of very good efforts earlier this year where he missed by a neck and a nose, and now he exits the Grade 3 Tom Fool.
You know, his race at the Tom Fool is a lot better than it looks, because that was a wicked, wicked pace. And the winner, Duchère, who ran a huge race, but he also took advantage of the pace. I mean, if you take him out, he only lost by 2 lengths for second in that vicious duel. He was far too close last time out. Now he draws perfectly outside of the other speeds.
You know, we haven't talked about the one horse, Bavaro, yet. And he's beat half of the field. And in the Tom Fool, we talk about the Tom Fool with Syndergaard with a good race. Well, he was 3rd in that race, and maybe it was due to the pace setup. But
No, he's
9-2. There he is.
He ran fine in that race. Now, he had a slightly better trip than Syndergaard, but he did run fine in there. You're just picking because you like the football player over the baseball player, let's be honest.
Mark Bavaro was a good one. Rajiv Mirage will be on board, the 5-year-old son of Freud here today. Here's Celtic Chaos here at Consell for Brad Cox.
Well, Bavaro's going to try to wire the field. Celtic Chaos is going to hope I Love Lulu and Syndergaard put pressure on him because he's a deep closer.
3 is scratched. The 4, Pat on the back, who Maggie was talking about. We're going to see here in a moment coming out of the Cigar Mile. We've not seen him since December the 1st.
He just had a sensational year in 2018. He's won at 6 furlongs, though. He's probably prepping to stretch out. Lost one tough race.
Yeah.
Cost some guy I don't like, but a guy I know,
Naira
a lot
Betts
of money.
pick 5 for 90 grand. Sudden surprise, the 5, Manny Franco, Rudy Rodriguez.
It's a little tough.
12-time winner, but yeah, this is certainly a tough
It's a
spot.
cool horse, but he's just a tough spot.
Another cool horse. I Love Lulu, the 6 here. 8-year-old now is very quick for Jason Service.
Looking for a repeat win, the Affirmed Success. Tougher field this year, but he loves it wet.
Tribeca, some of the other speed taken out of the race might help I Love Lulu's chances near. And it's Syndergaard to the outside at 5-2 with Junior Alvarado.
He should get the right stalk and trip, and John Terranova with a great job with this horse. Just a sensational job.
Standing by with a trainer of Syndergaard. Let's go to Maggie.
If only he could hear you, Andy, as he's standing right next to me. Andy giving you props for your job with Syndergaard. And talk about this horse. I mean, he's a horse that was very good as a 2-year-old, and he went through a rough patch of nearly 2 years, but it seems like you've gotten him back to the form that he once had.
Yeah, he's training like it. It took us a little while to get used to him and him to get to know us and everything, and maybe just to get the demons out of his head or whatever from, his couple of his bad performances or the form that he was in. But he's doing great. I mean, he's training well. He's run really well before we've had him in the off track, so we don't expect that to be a problem. And he's real sharp for this, so we're hoping to get back on track after his last race.
Was he a horse that had a lot of mental kind of things to get over?
I think so. I think he just lacked some confidence. That was it, and he just needed to kind of find his ground again. And physically, he's stronger than ever. He looks great, real happy with himself. And, he came close a couple of times. He ran, got back into top form there, and we're hoping we can take another jump forward now.
And John, I mean, watching the races today, track's very fair, despite it being sloppy. He looks as though he has that perfect kind of stalking trip. Is that what you're looking for today?
You know, I hope so. As long as he's comfortable, where I told Junior wherever he's comfortable, he'll break from the gate, and he's got speed. If he's out there comfortable doing that, that's great. If he's sitting off, there's a lot of speed inside of us, so we'll see how it unfolds. But he looks like he's ready for this.
John, we're wishing you the best of luck here.
Thanks so much.
All right, we'll see if Syndergaard can hit one home here in the Affirmed Success. Greg?
Maggie thinks he looks sensational, and you really do got to hand it to John Terranova. It looked like this horse, he might have just been done. First couple of starts they had with him, he did nothing, and all of a sudden they were patient, and it paid off.
His race in the Champagne, when he lost by a nose to Practical Joke, might have been as good a performance as any 2-year-old in the country that year. Having said that, he just completely fell apart after that, and John has done a remarkable job resurrecting him.
Yeah, that was back in 2016, back when he was a 2-year-old. Talking about that Breeders' Cup performance. Meanwhile, here's Pat on the back. He is a 5-year-old like Syndergaard, and he's going to be making his 5-year-old debut. He's a 3-time winner at Belmont.
It's not like he can't win at 6 furlongs, and he was second in this race last year. He stumbled badly in here, Gary.
He did stumble badly in here, and that's, I mean, that takes so much out of a horse. I realize this was a 1.125 race here, the Empire Classic, and he had a lot of time to overcome it, but he's athletic enough. He didn't grab a quarter, didn't step on himself, got right back up underneath Dylan Davis, and he was able to ride a very patient race from there and sit in the garden spot, and he's just an athlete. I know he's coming off of a layoff, and it looks like he's all route, but he's not. He's run some good races off of layoffs, going 6 furlongs, and like you said, this is probably for bigger and better things down the road, more distance. Not to say he can't still win today with his back class.
And it takes, I think, so much for a horse to stumble like that, get bumped at the start. It almost like it didn't even happen. He just quickly put himself right into the race, and it didn't even bother him at all. And a lot of horses, it just takes him completely out of the race.
Yeah, 90% of the time it startles the horse, it startles the rider a little bit, and they lose their composure for a couple of jumps. And I liked about that is he got right back underneath Dylan, and Dylan was able to not panic and just sit and ride his race, and he got him right back up in position. I mean, the second jump after he stumbled.
Well, this race named after a truly great one. $2.2 million in earnings, Affirmed Success. And Andy, you brought this up to me earlier in our meeting. Raced 42 times in his career. 38 of those 42 performances hit triple digits in buyer numbers.
Greg's being nice. I said it was 39 of 43. He's covering for me. he was, and the other thing is, he did it in the turf as well as dirt. I mean, he won our poker at a mile, and I think he ran a triple-digit buyer in that race. So he was no one-trick pony. And I don't think too many people remember this. One of his non-triple-digit buyers was the Travers, I believe, in like his 4th or 5th career start. Is that correct?
I am looking.
Well, he debuted in April of his 3-year-old year, and I believe
5th
4
career
months
start
later
in the
he ran the Travers. And I think he ran 4th or 5th that day?
7th.
Okay. What is that, like a 97 buyer? Was one of his subpar races?
Got an 85 that day. Pretty much
Stuck
everything
the
else,
joint
though,
up at a mile and a quarter.
was in the triple digits. What an amazing horse. 17-time winner, $2.285 million in earnings for Rich Shosberg.
And the hard way. That was 2.85 the hard way. He was everything that's good about the game.
Well, that horse you just saw on your screen a moment ago, I Love Lulu the 6, another horse that's the great thing about this game. He's been around for a while, too. 8-year-old who won this race last year. He's an 11-time winner. He's closing in on $1 million in earnings.
He's just another horse, 29 out of 50 and hitting the board, 11 wins. He loves a wet track. He figures to be stalking Bavaro. Rajiv is going to try to be aggressive and get away. He's going to be in attendance. He's a player. Listen, honestly, the 5 Sudden Surprise is a long shot. Everybody else has a strong chance.
You know, it's very rare that you see a race of this depth with the success on wet tracks that this field has had. I mean, many of them in here have thrived on a wet track. I mean, pat on the back, he probably doesn't like it as much as any of the horses in here. He started on a wet track 5 times. He's won 1, run a 2nd, and a 3rd. So 3 out of 5 isn't so bad, but the win column is a little bleak compared to some of the other ones in here.
And it's one of the things that could help the long shot Sudden Surprise. He has a real affinity for a wet track. He just might not be good enough.
Meanwhile, look at the 2 at 3-1. Celtic Chaos. He's getting up there in age as well, but he's been a very good performer on this circuit for a long time, coming off a 2nd beat a length behind Bavaro in the Holly Hughes.
and he could get a real pace to close into. Eric Cancelo rides him extremely well. He's very good at saving ground with this horse and looking to swing out in the late stages, and he's going to be running at the end. We'll see if he's good enough.
Bavaro was part of the New York Sack Exchange, right?
No, that was Mark Gastineau. And,
oh, that's right.
And, I mean, the wrong team, wrong era, defense, offense. You really nailed that one, Greg.
I did miss that one.
Sorry.
Pat on the back, steps in 7-2. 2-1 favorite, Syndergaard. He's the top choice here at post time for John Terranova. Can they get him back in the winner's circle for the 4th win of his career? Our feature race, the Affirmed Success. There is Thor moving in line. Larry Colmus with the call here on America's Day at the Races.
Syndergaard goes in, and they're all in line. They're off in the Affirmed Success. A slow start for Celtic Chaos, but he's a late runner. And it is Sudden Surprise and I Love Lulu out for the lead together, and Syndergaard and Bavaro right behind them. Pat on the back follows in 5th, a good 8 lengths off the lead already, and 3 ahead of Celtic Chaos, who lingers along in the initial stages, racing for the far turn. Sudden Surprise, a half length on top of I Love Lulu through a first quarter mile in 21.88 seconds. Bavaro and Syndergaard are right behind them, 4.5 lengths to Pat on the back. Celtic Chaos has been left with a lot of work to do. He's 15 behind, as Sudden Surprise, I Love Lulu, and Bavaro coming up to them 3 wide. These 3 coming to the top of the stretch together. Syndergaard has been left 4 lengths behind them and is under a heavy drive in 4th, a 44.92 half. They're into the stretch. Sudden Surprise, I Love Lulu, Bavaro to the outside of them. 2.5 back to Syndergaard, and then Pat on the back. Celtic Chaos down on the inside, still about 8 behind as they come to the final 16th. And I Love Lulu takes the lead. Charging through on the inside is Pat on the back. Pat on the back is rolling up the rail to win the Affirmed Success over I Love Lulu. Then it was Syndergaard in a photo with Sudden Surprise.
Dylan Davis does it again up the fence with Pat on the back. 7th win of this 5-year-old's career.
Well, Gary called it the 8th ball. He could see the leaders were they were on fumes at that point.
Yeah, they were staggering. They went fast early on, and Pat on the back. Looked like he had no speed at the start, but they went 21 and change. They went, let's see, 21 and 4, 44 and 4. It's fast fractions on today's track. I know these are better horses than what we've seen run all day long, but take a look in the middle of your screen there on the left-hand side of your screen is the 8-horse Syndergaard trying to wind up, but right behind that pack is your eventual winner, just getting wound up, looking for more ground, but he passes some exhausted horses, and his class comes through today with Pat on the back.
And listen, I mean, I Love Lulu, as well as the 5 Sudden Surprise, ran very well.
Yeah.
They finished 2nd and 4th. And I don't know, it looked to me, and maybe it was a bit of an illusion because they're going so quick early, but Syndergaard looked to be struggling a bit early.
Yeah, Syndergaard did look, he didn't look like he was comfortable. Yeah. You commented on it at the 3/8 pole that he was being niggled at by Junior Alvarado and still finished up pretty well there at the end.
But they were falling apart late. And, I mean, you got to love Pat in the back, right? Doesn't matter. Not his true distance. Doesn't love the surface. Yeah, he got a fast pace, but this horse just delivers every time Greg Wolf doesn't bet him.
He is a warrior in this New York bred condition. Had to bring that up again, thank you. But yeah, it's a fun horse here. Jeremiah Engelhardt, Dylan Davis, Harold Lerner, AWC Stables, winning connections here, and goes off as the 2nd choice at 3-1.
Glad to see Harold Lerner get a win. Harold is one of the truly good guys in the game.
Couple of wins today for that young man, and they come back-to-back. Dylan Davis takes the 7th, wins the feature in the Affirmed Success, and Pat on the back. I think we're going to hear more from him coming up this summer here on the New York circuit. We're going to take a break, back with prices right after this.
So my name is Robbie Herzl. I'm the yearly manager here at Claiborne Farm, and we've got the first crop of Run Happies this year. Overall, I'm very, very pleased with them. So we have a colt out of Queen of America. He's really nice, looks just like his dad. Very pleased with how he's coming along. So there was a lot of demand for the weanlings last year. They sold for over 6 times their stud fee, and we're really excited for the yearlings to come through the sales, and we're expecting big things from them.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Whether you have Derby dreams or Midsummer Derby dreams, this is Tom Durkin to tell you a registered New York bred can take you there. That New York bred Exact and the Whitney by multimillionaires Diversify and Mind Your Biscuits shows the kind of quality that allowed New York breds to earn more than $93 million on the world stage last year. On-track successes have spurred New York bred sales result. At the March OBS sale, Chestertown sold for $2 million. And this New York bred 2018 yearling brought $1 million at Saratoga. So get with the program at nybreds.com.
Carpe Diem was a serious racehorse with the physical to match. A debut maiden special weight winner at Saratoga, he beat the greatest stakes winner Ready for Rye, and he was named a TDN Rising Star that day.
Sean, he was brilliant at 2. I loved his race in the Breeders' Futurity. I also loved his race in the Bluegrass. When I saw him in the paddock, he looked absolutely stunning. This horse has it all: looks, brilliance, class. I can't wait to his 2-year-olds to hit the racetrack.
We are back on America's Day at the Races, brought to you in part by Run Happy, champion sprinter. Won the Breeders' Cup Sprint at Keeneland in track record time. Did it all while racing medication-free. Now standing at Claiborne for $25,000 in legendary stall number 1. Pat on the back. What a performance. Dylan Davis up the fence. His second win today.
Dylan seems to have a lot of success on our shows. I think we're very good luck for him.
He's been having a lot of success all winter long and into the spring. It's carrying over, and that's nice to see over the years. A lot of the younger riders that stay here for the winter time and have success, and then when the top riders in the country come back, their business dwindles a little bit. His business has stayed strong, and I look forward to stay strong throughout the summer.
$8.50 for the win. With Pat on the back, 2-win day, back-to-back here for Dylan Davis, who's with Maggie Wolfendale.
Yes, Dylan Davis, a familiar face here on the show, guys. And Dylan, diving to the rail here with Pat on the back, how did you see the race unfolding in front of you? And did he give you the feeling that he had that much horse left in the tank?
Well, being that it's been a shorter distance for him, I knew that I had to get on to him early. I didn't know I had to be on to him that early. I pretty much from the gate. He broke a step slow, got squeezed out pretty quickly. I saw they were wanting to rush up pretty good, and from then on, I just had to stay with them, not to go 100%, but just to keep a good target right up front. I know they were going pretty quick. Just trying to stay off the rail. The rail wasn't too well, but I've been coming up the rail late, earlier in the card, so I knew it was okay. Just trying to see my options. But turn for home, he was coming with nice momentum. There was a little bit of traffic going towards the outside. The rail was opened up, not directly there, but he surged on through, and he knows where the wire is, so he did a great job.
And a horse that you've had a lot of success with, you've ridden throughout his career, and considering that he's never run that well on a wet track before, comes back off the layoff today. Dylan, is there a chance that this horse is better, even better, I should say, as a 5-year-old?
I think so. I just worked him his last workout. He worked great for me. I was very excited for this race today. I think we're going to have a great career with him with this year, and excited. He come back a little bit quieter in the post parade. I just playing with him. I know sometimes he can come up quiet, but he breaks sharp. But today, he's a little quieter, but broke well. He was responding for me every step, and excited for what's to come.
What's his best distance?
I think it's more of the 7 to the mile. You know, this was probably a prep race, but he nailed it around the head there. So
I was going to say, well, prep race was a successful one. Dylan, congratulations. It's nice to watch this rapport you have with Pat on the back.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you.
All right, Pat on the back, successful in his return to the races, and they affirm success, guys.
Maggie, thanks. Well, on this race last year, a near miss for Pat on the back, he would go into the State Bred commentator, and he would face a monster in Diversify.
And he lost by a nose to him.
Yeah.
Diversify ran very well that day. Diversify coming back, actually, of course, his trainer, Rick Violet, passed away, but he'll be coming back for his new trainer, Jonathan Thomas. They're hoping to get back in July, looking for him to get back. I think Pat on the back will be hoping he doesn't come back that soon.
He's one of the great stories of last year. We take a look at the Naira Betts late pick 5 follow along. So 3 to 5 starts it out. 3 to 5 defeated in leg 2. Take charge, Morella, the biggest price at $12.40. Explain what's happening here in this Naira Bets Late Pick 5,
I mean,
Andy.
the parlay for about 50 cents is a little over $100. The lowest payout with the number 15 and will be favored here is almost $3,400. It's 15 times or 16 times the Pick 4 payout, and the first leg of the Naira Bets Late Pick 5 was a 3-to-5 shot. So sign up for Naira Bets and get involved in the Naira Bets Late Pick 5. That's just all I've got to say.
The only way to play it if you don't reside in the state of New York is with Naira Bets. You got to get down in this sequence here. Open, obviously, to anyone in the state of New York or with Naira Bets nationwide. One more leg to come. Race that's been taken off the turf. New York bred entry-level allowance and passport to victory right now for Jeremiah Engelhardt, 2-to-1 favorite.
Yeah, I don't think she'll be favored by post time, though she is the second choice looking at some multi-race bets. But I think she fits fairly well in here. She's a logical player.
This race will not be on our air, but you can watch it on the Naira Bets app or at nairabets.com. We still have another segment, though. We are coming back. We'll have the 8th from Oaklawn for you when we return. Stick around for that. Our first show of America's Day at the Races. And we got more live action from Hot Springs, Arkansas right after a quick break. Stay with us.
Run Happy was the fastest 3-year-old sprinter of his generation.
Run Happy is stamping his horses. And they all got great necks, great hind legs. They all got a good walk, and this colt moves very, very well. Very smart. He hasn't turned a hair since we had him. First day we turned him out, he was very, very gentle in his paddock and did everything right. He's got an exceptional pedigree.
Run Happy, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Mastery retired undefeated, winning his 4 starts by a combined 20 lengths. A 6-figure September sale purchase he won impressively in his 2-year-old debut at Santa Anita. From there, he captured the Grade 3 Bob Hope Stakes and completed his juvenile campaign with a dominant performance in the Grade 1 Los Alamitos Futurity. At 3, the top-rated son of Candy Ride sizzled in the San Felipe. Now his much-anticipated first crop arrives in 2019. Mastery, standing at Claiborne Farm.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com. Sign up now for a $200 new member bonus with promo code LIVE at nairabets.com.
You're watching America's Day at the Races. Are you up for anything? You want to visit americasbestracing.net for the latest and greatest. We got more live action coming up. We're going to Oaklawn in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Race 8 still to come. Let's go to Nancy Holthus for more.
Thanks so much, Greg. Ricardo Santana's had a good day. He looks for his 3rd win here for the Asmussen runner, the number 4, Estilo Femenino, the feminine style. She got away a little slow last time when making her Oaklawn debut, was also pretty wide coming around the turn. She did run 4th, ran 3rd, but was moved up to 2nd via DQ. So a ground-saving trip and a clean getaway could be the deciding factor to get that victory here this afternoon. Also on the far Star outside is the number 10, Always Enough, has produced a pair of runner-up finishes in 2 starts at the race meet. Now, she's been very impressive, was only beaten half a length in each of those outs. She could be sitting on a peak race as she does make her 3rd start of the meet. She broke away from the pony after post parade to get a really good warm-up under jockey Stuart Elliott. And also the number 8, Thoughtless, coming from the barn of Mac Robertson. He has sent out 2 winners on the card already, his best day at the current race meet. So she is the veteran in the field at 7 years of age. She was the beaten favorite last go. She hasn't won a race since late May of 2017. That was versus stakes runners. She's been getting multiple checks since. This could be the peak race today, as the barn has been on fire. But the feminine style could return to the winner's circle today, as we've seen Asmussen runners also having a peak day as well. Greg?
All right, Nancy, thank you. So 3-2 on Estilo Femenino here for Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr. They're just, every single race they are competitive.
I don't know about you, but I think it's an awfully tough race to take 3-2 on anybody.
I agree with you.
I mean, and you had a little idea. What was Team Hollywood? The trainer changed? Diodoro?
Such a big price on the 9, Team Hollywood. I mean, this horse comes in from Southern California. Last time this horse, and granted, it was a sloppy track. The only time this horse has been on true dirt, but did run second in that race. Equipment change, blinkers on. Goes to the Robertino Diodoro barn and working lights out. In the morning.
Big work last time. Listen, I have no problem with ever taking a shot with the price. And I just look at this race, and I'm not saying that Estilo Femenino can't win here, because obviously she can, but 8-5 on anybody in here in a race that I think is wide open. I'm going to root for Greg's 9.
Seconds too. I mean, half her starts, we're talking about the 4 right now, is the 8-5 favorite. Half her start, she's finished second.
At some short prices as well, and that's a knock. When you look at her last 4 races, she's been 2-1, 4-5, 5-2, and 3-1, and she has no wins, a second and a third.
Yeah, and she's being overbet again today because of her connections of Steve Asmussen and Ricardo Santana. Not saying she can't win, but she shouldn't be 8-5 for sure.
Did you ever find when you were riding, because obviously you had a lot of success in your career, now you rode also in some very tough colonies, but you looked up at a horse you were riding, especially maybe if you went out of town and thought, this horse is like 6-5, and I could be hard-pressed at the board?
Yeah, and there were occasions when I walked on the racetrack and I started warming the horse up, and I saw that flashing light when I was out there. I was excited and started warming the horse up, and he was dull for whatever reason. You're thinking, oh, man, they're going to boo me when I come back. And they did. I was walking back one day at Santa Anita. Bill Shoemaker's walking next to me, and it sounded like the wave going off, booing me. And my agent was walking with me, and Shoe was on the one side, and he says, well, my boy, you made it now. I learned to like it.
Did you enjoy the Jamaicans at Belmont?
Yeah, when I came here, I got razzed so bad being from the West Coast when I first started coming back here. And Jose Santos and I, we had a rivalry with each other. And the Jamaicans, they would make fun of me. Go back to California. Well, it took about 5 years. I walked in today, and there were a few of my Jamaican friends that came over, shook my hand, said, They became somebody who didn't like West Coast Gary to being a huge fan.
So you wouldn't try and tune it out? You would hear all that?
You hear certain things. You tune out most of it. You learn to laugh at it, but sometimes it was a great motivator.
The Jamaicans are our best core fan base. I mean, those guys are just great, and they love the game. And none of it, I'm sure you would agree, is mean-spirited. It's more just
having fun.
Not at all,
especially Jamaicans. They tended to forget a bad ride very quickly. Just sing another song and go to the next race.
3 chords steps in for Kenny Smith. That one with some speed to bring here to the party. And we're set. And here's the 8th from Oaklawn. Vic Stoffer with the call.
And Always Enough. They're at the post. They're off. College Queen and Estilo Femenino break well. Show It is asked for speed. Good move between horses. 3 cords makes it 5, trying for the lead. Then comes Always Enough. World Riot is at the rail. Then Team Hollywood, and at the back of the pack is Thoughtless with Highland Lass. Up the backstretch they run, and College Queen is cleared off now. College Queen, a 2-length lead over Always Enough. Estilo Femenino is between horses. World Riot slips through at the rail into a tight spot. She might have to check out of there. World Riot's in very tight. Then Team Hollywood, followed by Good Move. Highland Lass has 2 beat now. They are Thoughtless, and the trailer around the far turn is Show It. So they run to the top of the stretch now, and College Queen is the leader as 3 cords and Always Enough for second and third. Estilo Femenino is moving through from the inside. She's just gone from 4th to 2nd, and Estilo Femenino means business. Here she comes to run right by College Queen, and Estilo Femenino is now a length in front. College Queen is second, then Always Enough and Thoughtless, but it's Estilo Femenino with a stylish win. Estilo Femenino. Estilo Femenino beat College Queen by 3. Then came Always Enough and Good Move.
Estilo Femenino once again. Steve Asmussen, Ricardo Santana Jr.
She looked like she was dead empty. He was asking on the backstretch and cruised.
That was the old rope-a-dope by Ricardo Santana. Just messing with you, Andy.
Fooling with me. I had so much fun today. Can we do this again tomorrow?
We absolutely will do this again tomorrow. We're on 2:30 to 5 Eastern Time on Fox Sports 2 from 4 to 6 p.m. on MSG Plus. We're going to talk plenty more Derby tomorrow. We're just a week out. Hard to believe.
Excited. Great time of the year.
It's been an incredible road to that first Saturday in May. I may call on you guys for some selections tomorrow, but those are subject to change.
I have selections.
Pat on the back, your winner of the Affirmed Success for Jeremiah Engelhart and Dylan Davis, the young jockey with a multiple win afternoon. We'll see you on Saturday with another edition of America's Day at the Races.